Hello everyone, I'm Brian and today I'm going to be reacting to Bhagvad Gita for students, Swami Sarvapriyananda. I will never be able to pronounce that correctly, I don't think. Alright, so this is a request. I do request. If you have a request, please leave the title of the video, the YouTube channel, and the link, just so I can find exactly which one you're looking for, because sometimes YouTube spams. Anyone that puts a link to another YouTube video, sometimes it's marked for spam, sometimes it's not. And I don't ever check the spam folder because there's just a lot there. And I don't feel like going through it. I'd much rather read the comments and reply to people. Anyways, don't know. I haven't seen this before, so let's go ahead and give this video a shot. Although I do really like this guy. This is 9 years old and he looks really young in it. Oh, 2012. Well, 9 years ago. Hope you guys can read it pretty quickly.
Yesterday we had a refreshing celebration on Krishna Janmashtami, and today we have gathered here to hear the words of Lord Krishna as contained in the Bhagavad Gita. Before I talk about Swami Ji and our talk, I would like to tell you all that Vivekanand Samiti is celebrating 150th birth anniversary of Swami Ji over a period of 4 years, that is from 2011 to 15. Under this, we have organized Vivekanand Youth Convention in January, which included several invited talks on Swamiji's life and youth, followed by community service activities like health camps, eye camp, old article distribution, etc. Now we would like to start this semester with a wonderful 3-day lecture series on Vedanta by our very own Swamiji, Swami Sarvapriyananji Maharaj from Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Mutt, West Bengal. Swamiji is a learned and dynamic monk of the Ramakrishna Mutt, Belur. He joined the Ramakrishna order at Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapeeth, Deoghar, which is in Jharkhand in 1994. Since then, he has served the Ramakrishna Mission in various roles, including Vice Principal of the Deoghar Vidyapeeth Higher Secondary School, Principal of the Shikshan Mandir Teachers Training College at Belur Mutt, and as the first Registrar of the Ramakrishna Mission Vivekanand University at Belur Mutt. At present, he is an Acharya at the Monastic Probationers Training Center at Belur Mutt. You all will be surprised to know that he holds a degree in business management from the Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, and his interests lie in the varied fields of spirituality, philosophy, management science, and education. I would like to invite Swamiji on the dais as we want to offer him a small token of love from our side.
Just a small token. Uh-oh.
Bhagavad Gita, as we all know, is a conversation between the courageous Pandav prince Arjuna and his friend, guide and mentor Krishna on a variety of philosophical issues on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The Bhagavad Gita's call for selfless action inspired many leaders of the Indian independence movement, including Mahatma Gandhi himself, who referred to the Gita as his spiritual dictionary. In today's chaotic world, it holds a significant relevance for students, for they are considered to be the future face of our nation. I now invite Swamiji to enlighten us with his message on Bhagavad Gita for students.
Thank you very much, Jaita. It's a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here in this very beautiful institute to talk to all these bright young people on a subject which is very close to my heart. I'll go straight into the subject. There will be 3 lectures. The first lecture is more of a popular sort, with all the bells and whistles, PowerPoint and videos and so on and so forth. The next 2 lectures will be tomorrow and day after. We'll go much deeper, and that will be without the PowerPoints and videos and stuff. Okay. Let me go straight into this subject. I have selected a single insight from the Bhagavad Gita, which I want to share with you, something that will be very useful for you. You know, in the Gita there is something very interesting. I have often wondered why Krishna did not tell the Gita to Duryodhana. If he had told the Gita to Duryodhana and convinced him not to do all those things, evil things, maybe he could have avoided the Mahabharata war. And as a matter of fact, Lord Krishna actually did try to convince Duryodhana. Many of you will be aware of that episode. Once he went to persuade Duryodhana. And you know what Duryodhana said? When Lord Krishna tried to tell him that you should not do all these things, and it's adharma, it's unrighteous, it's morally wrong, the way you are treating the Pandavas. Duryodhana's reply was very interesting. So Duryodhana's reply was very interesting. He said, don't tell me about dharma and adharma, what is right and wrong, don't tell me about that, because that is not my problem. I know what is right and what is wrong, but my problem is different. He said, I know what is right, but my problem is I don't feel like doing it. I know what is wrong, but my problem is I can't stop myself from doing it. Janami dharmam nachame pravritti. Janami adharmam nachave nivritti. It's a very interesting insight into human nature. He says, Janami dharmam, I know what is right. What I should do, I know it. You need not tell me. Nachame pravritti, I have no interest in doing it. I don't feel like doing it. Janami adharmam, I know what is wrong, what is bad, what is evil. Nachame nivritti, I can't stop myself from doing it. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Then he says, Kenapi devena hridi stitena yatha niyojito asmi tatha karomi. There is some power inside me. As it is forcing me along, I do that. Whatever it makes me do, I do it. I am helpless. There's a strong tendency in me which makes me do certain things which I know it's wrong, and what I want to do, I know what it's right, I should follow this path, but I can't.
That's weird to say that you have no power over your own body or to take responsibility for your actions. But I am curious as to what is this thing that compels him to do it. Like, okay, he admits that he says he knows what is right and he knows he can't stop what he's doing, that it's wrong. That's very weird to say, that you have no control over your body. That is just weird. While we pause, I want to read this. I know what I should do and what I should not, yet I cannot put it into practice. The key difference between Arjuna and Duryodhana. Oh, good lord! I probably spelled that. Said it wrong.
I try and I fail. This is my problem. My problem is not right and wrong. I know what is right and wrong. Sometimes young people say, "Gyan mat do yaar." I know what is right and wrong. So it's basically that was Duryodhana's reply. That was Duryodhana's reply. Arjuna has the same question in Bhagavad Gita. Very interesting. In the fourth chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna, Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. Forced by what does a person do wrong things? Anichannapi, even if he or she does not want to do it. He wants to lead his life in this way, but he slips, makes mistakes. Later on he regrets that. Anichan, he does not want to go on that path. But baladiva niyojita, he is forced somehow. Somehow he does these wrong things. And it automatically echoes with us. We have these experiences on a larger scale or smaller scale, but we all have these experiences that we want to do certain things, lead our life in a certain way. You're all students. Who has not got this experience? You make a very ambitious routine, 12 hours a day, I'll put in 12 hours studying. And then somehow the whole day is gone and you find, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. Today I didn't do it. And as students, we have all experienced this. You want to lead your life in a particular way, you can't. You don't. Why not? Arjuna asks this. And the difference between Duryodhana and Arjuna lies in this precisely. Duryodhana did not ask a question. He put it as a matter of fact. I can't help it. This is my life. This is the way I am. I can't help it. What Arjuna does is,
I can't help it. That's weird again to say. I mean, again, he may make sense a little bit. It may make more sense later on in his explanation, but just initially, as he's explaining this, to say that I can't help myself but do this, maybe as for me, the way I live my life, I can't. It's weird to say this. I can't lose control of the things that I'm responsible for, because it's my responsibility. Now, I guess you could, it's not to say that I'm a control freak, but I will control the things that I can control and understand that I can't control things that I can't control, if that makes any sense. So basically, my actions, I have to control my actions. I am responsible for myself, therefore I cannot say I'm doing bad things and I know I'm doing it bad, but I can't help myself. No, that's not an excuse that I can accept. I either choose to do bad things and know it, or choose not to do it and, well, not do it. But to say that I'm doing bad things and I can't help myself, that's weird. That's the reason why it's weird to me. It's like, how is this how is this happening unless you're like infected by a virus or something, or like a fungus, actually, like the ants with the fungus. It's scary, zombies. But yeah, unless there's a brain tumor again. Maybe I'm thinking too logically on that. Obviously I am, but it's just, again, you know, to say that you have no control over your action, you have to have a better reason than that. So hopefully maybe he answers that.
He puts it as a question. He says, what can I do about it? This is what's happening to me. How can I pull myself out of it? So if we are in Arjuna's position, we would like to know how to put our lives right. How can I set a target, how can I achieve that? This is the question. What is Krishna's answer? So this is from Bhagavad Gita, but we'll take a detour, a sort of bypass. Instead of going straight to Krishna's answer, now I will take you to the 1960s, a very well-known psychologist, Walter Mischel. He had this experiment with little children on this very subject. The experiment was like this. He took little 4-year-old children, boys and girls, and what he said was to the children that here is a marshmallow, kind of mithai, an American sweet. You want a marshmallow? And kids.
Oh my gosh! Actually, I did watch this. Like, again, I watch weird stuff on YouTube, but it's so funny. But I don't quite remember the results, but I do remember seeing this a few times, and I can't remember what the result is. I know some did take it and some did wait, but the reasoning why I forget.
Says, yes, I want a marshmallow. Do you want 2 marshmallows? Yes, I want 2 marshmallows. So, all right. You can eat this marshmallow, but I'm going to go out of this room for a few minutes. I'll come back a little later. If you wait for me, if you don't eat the marshmallow, I'll come back and give you 1 more, so you can have 2. You can eat it now. If you eat, it's all right. You'll get only 1.
Yeah.
But if you don't eat, you wait for some time, not determine how much time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I will come back. Then you can eat it.
Yeah, I think I can't remember the experiment, but I think I think children who can wait, I think do a little bit better in life, maybe because they're able to put off the reward to themselves and put in the hard work. I believe, if I remember correctly. I guess he's going to explain it. Let me just.
And it's kept in front of the child, and the psychologist goes out of the room. And unknown to the child, this was video recorded. And
I love videos
you
like
will see
that,
some
honestly.
of those recordings.
It's just so
very
fascinating.
Interesting.
Yes.
And very funny also, very cute.
Yeah.
I got it from YouTube. And the interesting thing is, some children, all of them said we will wait for 2 marshmallows. All of them said we want 2.
Yeah.
And some of them did wait.
Yeah.
Some of them did not. They said we will wait, but they could not wait. And they saw that sweet in front, and you just remember they're 4-year-old. So for a 4-year-old kid to wait for 10 minutes also is a torture.
Yeah.
When will sir come back, and then I can have two.
long.
And some of them succumbed to the temptation and ate the marshmallow. Now what the psychologist did, Walter Mischel, what he did is, he divided the two groups on pen and paper. He did not tell the children anything. 14 years later, he went back to those children and he found amazing differences between the two groups. He went and interviewed their parents, their classmates, their teachers, and he found those children who were able to control themselves, they said we will wait, and they did wait. They, on the average, they did better in academics, in co-curricular activities, in sports. They were regarded as more confident, self-controlled. And the other group, significantly lower scores in SAT scores and all that. Now, it's amazing, just a small thing, little bit of self-restraint. I want to do this and I do it. And the other person says, I want to do this, but I can't do it. Just this difference. We'll just see those videos. And then
Truly, honestly, those videos are very fascinating to me. Again, human psychology is something I am interested in, even though, I mean, I'm not like really deep into it, but it's just fascinating to know about human psychology, how people act and certain things. It's really crazy. And I have a feeling like in some Western people, or at least, well, just some people in general, honestly, those who cannot wait are the reason why I think those people tend to blame other people. Because, well, at least in America, there are a lot of people out there who live paycheck to paycheck, not because they don't make enough money, but because they don't have that patience to save their money. They just have to spend it right away, like it's burning, and they have to spend it before it burns out. And some of them, are like, oh, I'm not making enough money. It's the system. It's the whatever. They're blaming other people other than themselves about these problems. And they hate the world, or they hate the people. They just blame other people. They blame other things. They blame racism. They blame those group of people, the rich people, the poor people, these people. They just blame everyone but themselves with their problems. Now, there are some people out there who are genuinely trying to save and who are cutting back on a lot of things and then still living paycheck to paycheck. But I think there are more people out there who just don't know how to manage their money and cannot look to themselves that they are the cause of that problem.
I'll proceed. This is again from YouTube. Walter Mischel's experiment was repeated by Philip Zimbardo. Those who study psychology, he's a very well-known psychologist. His book, Psychology and Life, is a standard text all over the world. So this is a talk given by Zimbardo upon this experiment. He gave the talk in Google, and they have put up the video on YouTube. You can see that.
So it's a study done at Stanford by Walter Mischel with 4-year-olds. You can see here.
Well, that's loud.
Sit right up. Okay. Now, I'm going to play a game with you.
See, the first part is nothing to do with the experiment, because they're little children, you have to distract them. Otherwise, they'll keep thinking, what answer does sir want? So they'll play a little game and say, now I'll give you a prize. So the child is distracted.
Okay. I don't remember this
and
one.
I would like you to point to which one is the correct answer. Which one is happy most of the time? The shy one or the not shy one? Not shy one, correct. Which one has a brown nose? The shy puppet or the not shy puppet?
The not shy puppet.
Point there. Thank you. I'll stop that. Which one is happy most of the time? The shy one or the not shy one?
Probably that one.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I want to give you a prize for having done so well.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one. I've seen another one, a different one.
You do? Well, here's a marshmallow for you. You can eat it now, but if you wait until I come back, you can have 2 of them. So you can eat this now, but I'm going to go outside for a minute. When I come back, you can have 2 marshmallows if you wait.
Okay, I'll wait.
Do you think you could wait? Okay, let's see. I'll be back in a minute. See.
I've not seen this one before.
Notice the body language is wonderful.
Yeah, they're wanting it so bad.
So I was looking at the door.
Totally looks away the whole time.
What does that mean?
Too hot.
You don't know it's being recorded actually.
Little distraction.
Oh!
You waited. You waited for me. Okay, so now you know what's going to happen. You're going to get a double treat. I'm going to give you 2 of these lovely marshmallows. You want to eat them now or want to save them for later? Okay, go ahead. A little sticky.
I've had marshmallows before.
Well, some children waited, others just ate it.
Right, you got it right. So I'm going to give you a prize. I'm going to give you a treat. The treat is a delicious marshmallow. But if you wait, I have to go check my car. When I come back, if you wait, you can have 2 of them. You can have 1 now, or when I come back, you can have 2. Okay? Okay.
Licking her lips. Just temptation, or just capital T. Sorry.
Hello, my dear. You ate the marshmallow. Was it delicious? Do you like marshmallows?
Now, this kid is wonderful.
You don't like marshmallows?
Look at that face.
Do you like chocolate?
Yeah.
This boy is very funny. I asked him, do you like marshmallows? He says, no. Then, do you like chocolate? Yes. So luckily he has chocolate. He says, okay, I'll give you 2 chocolates if you wait for me. And he explains it 4 times. Will you wait? He says, yes. But every time he gets up, he's putting a hand forward to take the chocolate. Will you wait for me until I come back? Yes, I'll wait. And 4 times he explains. But still, before the psychologist leaves the room, he has already eaten it. And not only that, when the psychologist comes back, the boy says, I waited, you gave me another one now.
Okay, well,
I love chocolate.
treat you one is a chocolate, but, if you wait till I come back, you can get 2. You can eat this now. I have to go check my car. And when I come back, if you wait, I'll give you 2 of them.
Okay.
So you can eat it now, but if you wait till I come back, you have 2. Okay? You think you can wait? Okay. So I will be back in a few minutes. So you can eat it now.
What time?
But if you wait, you're going to have 2 of them. Okay, I'll be back soon.
I'm not out of the door. I love the little skull and crossbones. Like total boy. He's just enjoying it, minding his own business, eating away.
I'm wondering if maybe the explanation wasn't clear. It said, you can eat this now, but if you wait, like, what do you mean by wait? Like, if I sit here and wait, or like, do I? He probably should have said it like, you can eat this now, but if you don't eat it now and wait until I come back, I will give you 2, as opposed to, like, if you eat this now, you can eat this now if you want, but if you wait until I get back, I'll give you 2. Like, so I can eat this and wait until you get back to eat 2. I'm wondering if maybe there's a miscommunication there. Some understood it, but I'm just wondering that.
Now listen to me.
Good. I waited.
Yeah.
You ate the chocolate.
See, I think the kid understood it as, I sat here and waited for you to come back, as opposed to wait to eat the chocolate. And I'm wondering if that may be the case for some of them. Because he said, I
So
waited.
clearly, he did not understand
Zimbardo.
a very important connection between if-then.
Well,
He didn't make the causal link that what he heard was, you can eat 1 now. If you wait, you can have 2.
yes.
So he said, I waited. I didn't leave the room. So he ate one now, and
Yeah,
now
there
he
you go.
wanted the other two. And so what we've been arguing now is kids like that who grow up to be adults who are present-oriented never really learn if-then relations, never really learn causal sequence, never learn about probabilities.
But maybe he'll learn how to ask questions. Now, when you say wait, do you mean me waiting here, or do you mean me waiting to eat? Because, waiting to eat, I'll just leave the room and come back when you come back, instead of being in front of the temptation. I could leave the room with you, and then we can come back, and therefore it's still there. I don't know,
therefore,
maybe.
they're on the path to do badly in school. Because life is all probabilities, causal relations, if-then. So what difference does it make, this little thing? Before the age of 4, no kids can wait, because it does involve development of the various parts of the brain. At 4, about half kids wait and half don't. As you get older, more and more kids are able to delay gratification.
Yes. And that's the thing right there, delayed gratification. There is, I watch also some financial videos, and some people that I've watched were, was it millionaires, do they all think alike, from I think Jubilee and a few other videos. I can't remember what they're called, but basically the talking points between the rich and the poor, and you see this rich people are actually like teenagers or under 30 years old, and the great interesting example between them was this rich people, they had delayed gratification, basically meaning that they gave up their social life, they gave up partying, they studied in school, they worked on their business, while all the poor, they didn't really say what they did, but it's a little bit different for them. Sometimes, maybe they weren't given an opportunity, maybe they were working hard, but you could see these rich people who, in fact, did not go partying. Like I said, oh, my friends were out partying all the time. I was sitting there studying in the books, and this it was a black woman said, yeah, instead of going to college, I focused on my business. Or I think she didn't go to college. I think she dropped out because it wasn't really working for her, but her business was doing great and she focused on that. Now she's a millionaire. The dude was the fact that he was studying and he did go out partying with his friends, so he actually has his own business as well. So again, just delayed gratification is amazing. I mean, amazing, but kind of sucks. But I guess if you can control your urges, it could pay out in the end.
Now, the interesting thing is, Walter Mischel went back 14 years later, interviewed the kids, got their school records, interviewed the parents, and it turned out there were incredibly enormous differences between kids who gave into the temptation and kids who didn't. What I want to do is play you a little animation we've just made that outlines those changes and does it in a humorous way. So repeats a little bit of that.
You may already be familiar with the famous marshmallow study conducted by my colleague, psychologist Walter Mischel, in which a group of 4-year-olds were given one marshmallow and told they were allowed to eat it immediately. They were told that if they could wait to eat the marshmallow after being left alone with it for a while, then they would be given an extra marshmallow to eat. Most eat the marshmallow as soon as they are left alone with it, but some other children are able to resist temptation. Those children who ate the marshmallow right away are considered to be oriented toward the present, while those who resisted temptation have an orientation toward the future. When the children were interviewed years later as 18-year-olds, there were amazing differences between the children who were able to delay gratification and those children who couldn't resist the immediate temptation. Scored 250 points higher on the SAT, overreacts to frustration, works well under pressure, indecisive, self-reliant and confident, prone to jealousy and envy.
Okay, so that little thing, basically what he is saying is that crucial to success in life is the ability to delay gratification. I want something. For that, I have to make the necessary sacrifices. So maybe I have to wait a little bit before I get my reward. It's a very small thing, but this key insight is very important. And very interestingly, have you heard of the concept of emotional intelligence? There's a new concept. not very new actually. There's a psychologist, Daniel Goleman.
Emotional intelligence. I've heard that said before, but I never really gave it much credit, honestly. Emotional intelligence. Now, mind you, it could be because it was tainted by a particular group of people, but never heard it in such a good way though yet.
He gave this concept of emotional intelligence. In fact, more popularly the term used is EQ versus IQ. IQ is normally mostly analytical, numerical abilities, and most of you will have very high IQ here. Why I'm bringing up this subject is, he said, for success in life, both in career, in academics, and more so when you go to a job, your career, and your family life, and your relationships with others, EQ is more important than IQ. That's what he's trying to say.
Well, I'll say this. I guess there are, in fact, some like really intelligent people who tend to be loners. They tend to be strange, tend to have like a quirk to them. So, well, maybe. I don't know if that's something you notice.
The very interesting point he makes
in his
book, Emotional Intelligence. There I found, very interestingly, he refers to this experiment of Walter Mischel. And he makes it one of the core ideas of EQ. Which experiment? This thing about the ability to delay gratification, to control the impulse.
I guess technically that is an emotional response. Okay. I've not heard it said that way, mind you. I've heard it said in other ways that just they use it in such a way to justify their answer, which wasn't good enough for me. It wasn't a good explanation for me. So this, okay, I get this, yes.
And he makes it a core point of EQ. He also says employers, people in different fields, they are looking for people with actually high EQ. And why I'm saying this is, he made a point. He gave a talk in Google also. And I saw the talk, and he made a point which is very relevant in an institute like this. It's an IIT, not any IIT, it's the best IIT probably in the country. And you have so many brilliant young people with extremely high IQs. Now, the point he makes is, there is no particular correlation between IQ and EQ. There are people with high IQ and high EQ. There are people with extremely high IQs and low EQ. There are people with extremely high EQ but not very high IQ. So it's if you plot it, a scatter diagram, you will get an evenly distributed plot. Now what he says is that in an institute like this, he is giving a talk to Google, so where you select people based on IQ. You have those entrance examinations and all. So generally people who come into this kind of institute, people have sort of cutoff of IQ. You will find people on the higher range in IQ here. So here in this institute, for example, among your classmates, among your teachers, you will find the difference in IQ, the spread in IQ is not much. But the spread in EQ will be quite high because you have not selected for EQ.
Yeah, but how do you test for that though? How do you test for EQ? You gonna do the marshmallow test? like the psychologist was saying, that as you get older, most of them can hold off gratification, but hold off gratification in what and how long of a term, you know? Clearly people still can't hold off on gratification. That's what I was talking about earlier, about the fact that, you know, people just, you know, live paycheck to paycheck because they gotta spend that money. They can't hold off, they can't save. But how do you measure EQ though?
Therefore, in an environment, in an institute like this, or in a job, in a very good place where you're working in research institute, or in a company outside, the difference, the factor which will make a difference to you will be EQ. You follow the logic. And he gave this in a talk in Google that I'll show you a little bit, the relevant portion of that talk.
I'm Peter, collaborative on career.
Recently, who said, you know what we found? You alone is going to help you. Done is to, because they are catalytic. We had a kind of
this is Daniel Goleman.
Random distribution. Now, if you take this pool and you map it on Google or any other company that places a premium on cognitive abilities, this is the total sample. Well, what you've done is really interesting because you're skimming the top. Okay, whatever, let's say this is IQ 150, whatever. It's very high. What you have now done is to make a very small difference for IQ. There's very little variation in the population at the very top, and a very large difference for emotional intelligence. That means that whatever emotional intelligence contributes to success in an environment like this, it matters more per unit than IQ does.
I don't know. All depends on the job, I will say. If your job requires not to interact with anyone, or at the very least say other people that's not in business, it's irrelevant what they do in their personal life or how they communicate, in a sense. So long as they can communicate with their boss or their co-workers and stuff, you know, that's fine. Now you want high IQ, high EQ if this person goes to other businesses and knows how to talk to people. Well, maybe. Well, they're talking about EQ as a delayed gratification, so there's definitely got to be more than that. And then in a programming business, you just need people to be able to do their jobs. Whether that just be sit there programming or going business to business. How's EQ into that one? Well, emotional intelligence, say we brought it out to like being able to communicate with people. Then yeah, then that only applies to positions where they go to business and talk to people. You want to have high IQ, high EQ. But if there are just programmers and they just talk to people, it's like to their coworkers, to their boss, and that's about it, high EQ is irrelevant. For the most part, you know, you don't want someone who just like completely silent, I suppose. You know, you want them to communicate a little bit, but not high EQs required, I would think, unless you're going to say something else different about that.
So there's actually a floor effect here for IQ. You wouldn't expect that IQ alone is going to help you be highly effective in this work environment.
You got the point. I mean, there's no need to repeat that. Basically what he has done is, he says in a general population the distribution will be like this. There are differences in IQ, less and more, and there are differences in emotional intelligence, less and more. But when you have a group like this institute, where you have a flow, because you have come through a selection process, you will find what you have done is you have skimmed the top in each. Suppose you have come from different schools and colleges, and only the best in your batch, most of you are the best in your batch, because you came through a selection process. Therefore, the difference in IQ will not be much here.
Yeah, everyone's going to be in that top line. Yeah,
the difference is very little. There's a floor here, but you're not tested for emotional intelligence. So there are people who have got high emotional intelligence, you've got people who have got low emotional intelligence, and therefore more than a general population, in a population like this will be more important than this.
Again, all depends. I mean, it all depends on what you're doing. Like, I mean, I keep saying that, sorry, but I do need to find out what EQ also includes. So delayed gratification is one of them. That's irrelevant in terms of your job almost. I mean, you don't necessarily need to delay anything. If you can pop out a good answer, that's great, especially if you do it in less time. You don't need to delay your contributions to your job. Again, obviously, regardless of your IQ, EQ, putting out a good product or doing your job correctly is the most important thing above IQ, EQ. So outside of that, putting it out sooner and doing it right is better. Again, being done correctly being the most important over IQ and EQ. So I don't know why EQ would necessarily matter. Again, if you're going I don't know what else EQ includes other than delayed gratification. That I know for sure because that's what he said. But I assume, I mean, EQ so far in delayed gratification is more of your personal life than, say, your business or your work environment. You know, you could be blowing off you can be spending all your money as long as you're doing your job. You know what? I'll hire you.
In general, emotional intelligence is more important, but here it is even more so in a population like this. Anyway.
And I do wonder, does intelligent matter more than EQ? IQ more important than EQ, or is EQ more important than IQ? So what would you where would you cut off the where would you do the cutoff line? Because he's just talking about obviously getting everyone from the high IQ, and obviously the high IQ and having high EQ would be great, but you're really cutting off a large section of high IQ people, and you're down to this unicorn bunch. So I don't know if I can even write it down correctly. Okay, so oh my god, I wish I had wish I had IQ, EQ. So, oh man, you can't really see that. There we go. IQ, EQ. I don't know if you can see that, but if you let me see if you can read that. So if you have all these dots, let's see if you can see that now. Maybe a little better. So you see high IQ, high EQ in that circle area. You are cutting off a lot of people. That's like the unicorn. And what I mean by the unicorn is the fact that it's kind of like finding someone who's amazingly good looking. So if you change IQ to good looking and EQ as in like their personality. So if you find someone who's like amazingly good looking, like the 10 out of 10 in terms of looks, and then you look at the EQ, which is their personality, 10 out of 10 in personality, there's not very many people that are amazingly good looking and have an amazing personality. That's unicorn territory. So having a high IQ, high EQ is unicorn territory, and you're limiting yourself so much. The reason why I know this is because a dating video once asked, like, you know, they did what a guy likes, which is the beauty and then personality, and there's this unicorn area in the upper right hand corner, because, you know, high looks very good and very good personality doesn't exist. So they settle for somewhere around the middle where they have good personality but good looking as well, like in the middle ground type of thing. But you have the people over here that's like super hot but they're super crazy. So that's the graph that I kind of associate with that for some odd reason.
It's the same point. It comes back to the same question. I've just shown you the importance of the ability to control oneself. Now the question of Arjuna's question was, how do I control myself? Why does this happen? And how do I have this control? Whether it's Duryodhana or it's Arjuna or it are those 4-year-old kids, you know, they can ask the same question. I wanted to wait for sir, but I could not wait because the marshmallow was in front of me and I wanted to wait. I had made up my mind to wait. I could not wait. Why couldn't I wait? Impulse. And how can I control myself? These are the questions. Now we go to Sri Krishna's answer and see what he has to say.
Desire?
Chapter 3. 2 verses I'll take up. Basically what he's saying is this. He's saying that there are 2 levels in our activities. One is at the level of our subconscious minds. He calls it Prakriti or Samskaras. So there is a level which is below our level of our consciousness, and here we have tendencies. We have, you can call it Samskaras or Prakriti. Prakriti simply means nature of an individual. What does this consist of? It says it consists of Raga, Dvesha, liking and disliking. Raga and Dvesha. Raga means attachments, likings. I want. Dvesha, I dislike. What do I want? What do I dislike? It depends upon you. Your habits. If you are a believer in rebirth theory, so the idea is that we have accumulated a lot of tendencies throughout our lives. If you don't believe in that also, that's perfectly all right. From childhood onwards, we have developed in a particular way. So we have liking for certain food, certain environment, certain activities, books, games, so whatever, certain people, and we have dislikes, certain environment, certain food, certain kind of people, we have dislikes, and these differ from person to person, and these are deep rooted. We are not often aware of this. It's below the level of our conscious awareness. This is one stage. The second stage is when we interact with the world, what happens is we have a reaction. It comes from here, and we think something, we say something, and we do certain things. So these are the level of, this is the conscious level, the level of conscious activities already expressed.
Okay, so I was thinking along this part, I wanted to wait a little bit just in case, but he said we have likes and dislikes that are subconscious to us, which I'm wondering if that's dealing with genetics though, like how it's really weird because there are some children hate broccoli or hate vegetables. There are some children who love broccoli, love vegetables. There are some people who love pickles, some people who hate pickles. And it's not like they ate it and it's like, I decide I want to like this one. It's not that. It's something genetic. Genetically, actually, there are some people who would not normally eat something, but if they're starving, sometimes their body will let them know to eat certain things. I guess one example was, I remember watching the show where some people got lost in the sea and they were starving, but they ended up catching a fish. And this dude just looked at this fish's eye and he wanted to eat it, so he ate the fish's eye. And he said he would not normally do that, but he was hungry and he just wanted to eat it. But apparently, according to what I guess a scientist would say, it's like, well, the eye has a lot of certain minerals and stuff. I have a feeling he was just hungry and something that he thought maybe he could eat, possibly. But I think maybe it's dealing with genetics, where how your taste buds align, so that, like, I don't drink alcohol at all because I can taste it. Meh, I don't like the taste of it. I could taste it, but I prefer not to. While some people love it, they drink it and have no problem with it. It's not something that we choose. It's just maybe how our taste buds are aligned in a way.
This is not expressed, unconscious. This is conscious and expressed. At this level, it is too late. Already, I am dieting. I want to watch my weight. I have this delicious pastry in front of me. I like it. I eat it up. And then later I regret it. I had thought I would not eat this, but I have now eaten it. So what happened was, here is a raga. Here is a raga. And you see this attractive object X in front of you. And you think, I want it. You order it, give me one, and eat it up. And then you regret it. Because you decided not to take this actually. This is what is happening all the time. It happened to Duryodhana, it happened to the little kids, and Arjuna is asking, why does it happen? It happens because of this. From our samskaras directly, this is expressed. And Sri Krishna says this in 3rd chapter, in the shloka number 33. He says, Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Very interesting shloka. He says, Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakriter jnanavanapi. A person who is a jnani, who has read the Shastras. I want to lead my life in this particular way. I want to meditate, realize God, and I want to have daily meditation, exercise, have a fit body. I want to do my studies in this particular way. Everything is there. Jnanavan. He is aware of what he wants to do, he or she. But, Prakritim Yant, he says, Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakrite jnanavanapi. Prakriti is this one. Sadrisham means according to Prakriti. Even this person who is very alert, he works according to Prakriti. Prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Such an interesting comment by Sri Krishna. People act according to their natures. What can self-control do? Nigraha kim karishyati. And the immediate doubt which is raised in all the commentaries is, if self-control is of no use, then what is the point of all this meditation and yoga and all spiritual practices? And they raise this doubt. Then what is the point of all this? What he is saying is, we have this Prakriti and then it is expressed. At this level it is unconscious, you are not aware of it, you cannot do anything. At this level it is already expressed. You may stop it once, very, very difficult to stop. You may stop it once, next time you will fail. You fail twice, maybe succeed once, and you get frustrated. It goes on like this. What is the way out? Sri Krishna says in the 34th verse, he gives the secret. Indriyasya indriyasya arthe raga dvesha vyavasthitau tayorna vashamagachet tau hi asya paripanthinau. 3.34. The secret is here. He says, between these two levels, are we clear about these two levels? One is the subconscious level, samskara, this one, prakriti, and the next one is action, karma.
What happened number 2?
He calls this the uncontrollable level. It's a conscious level. It's conscious but difficult to control, and this is unconscious, but because it's unconscious you can't control it, you're not aware of it. So this is, he says this is the third level and this is the first level, and he says the secret is, Sri Krishna gives, this is the important point, the whole lecture, this is the most important point. He says the secret is, between these two levels there is another level. There is another level, and he says this raga dvesha, it comes in a conscious level, and this is the second level, this is controllable. What he says is, from here the action goes here, and from here to third level. From the first level, unconscious level, there is a small conscious gap when you become aware of likes and dislikes coming up, boiling up from within. Before it takes on the form of a strong desire, thoughts, or you already say something, a flash of anger comes and you hurl an insult at somebody, later on you are going to regret it for behaving like that. I need not have said that, you feel that. But you already said it. At that level it's very difficult to control. You know, he says, I became so angry, I was burning up from the top of my head to my toes. So that's already at this level, third level. But he says, Krishna says, at this level, there's a gap, there's a conscious gap, a window of opportunity. At that level, you can control it. At that level, you can control it. You can consciously control it. What he is saying is this. Raga dvesha, likes and dislikes, according to our sense organs, indriyasya arthe means the earlier shloka. What it means is, each indriya has its vishaya. Indriya means sense organ. So eyes have, chakshu has vishaya as form. These are forms. Ears, shabda. Tongue, taste, rasa. Like this, the 5 indriyas have their vishaya. Indriyasya arthe raga dvesha vyavasthito. Each of them have fixed likes and dislikes, which are in your subconscious mind. There are certain forms I like, certain forms I do not like to see, certain sounds which I like, certain things which I do not like to hear, and so on. Certain things I like to taste, certain things I do not like to taste. All these are our conditioning, and they are expressed in action, in karma. Between these,
yeah, it's kind of weird whenever you saw karma. Again, my understanding of karma from a while back was the things that you've done in life and how you're reincarnated. Basically, it's like you're whether you've done good or bad, that'll determine whether you come back as a higher being or not. So he's using it a little bit different in this one.
2 levels. He says there's a second level at which he says, Krishna says, what you can do is you can exercise conscious control, like a traffic policeman. You know, you have a chaura here, there's a traffic policeman there. What he does is he controls traffic. Now you have a particular aim in life. So maybe it might be studies, it might be meditation, God realization, whatever. You know very well, just like Duryodhana said, I know what is right and what is wrong. How do you know what is right and wrong? According to your aim of life, there are certain things which are right and certain things which are wrong. If a little child wants 2 marshmallows, the right thing is not to eat the marshmallow until sir comes back. The wrong thing to do is to eat it up, because you will not get the second marshmallow. In the same way, that's a very simplistic thing, but in the same way, it works for all of us. What is right and wrong in life, we know. Now this policeman, this conscious level, what you have to do is, whatever is coming from your subconscious, it will be in the form of think this, say this, do this. You filter it at this level. Certain things which are in accordance with your aim of life, what you want to do or what you want to be, those you allow, okay, pass, and you are expressing as action. Certain things which are not in accordance with what you want in life, those you disallow. You divert them and you replace them with something good. Because you can't have a vacuum. You must think something, say something and do something. So there is a decision which you have to take. At this level, there is a decision which you have to take. It's not all that complicated. My diagrams look very complicated.
I will say, I remember when I was on diets, I tell myself, I'm not hungry, and amazingly, it's worked a few times. A few times, and a lot more times actually. I'm amazed, but I don't know if this is related or not, because I'm trying to stick to the diet, and I get hungry, and I'm like, no, and then I don't get hungry. I haven't had that much control as of late, though.
This level, you have to take a decision.
I wonder if that's related to this.
The thing about the decision is a very interesting thing. I'll tell you. This is a power which we all have, actually, 24 hours a day. In the Gita Upanishad says, Shreyam and Preya. What is good for me and what is pleasant for me. Shreya and Preya. What is good and what is pleasant. Swamiji used to talk about it often. Shreya and Preya.
Okay, actually, I'm going to pause right here because it's going on an hour now. I think it's a good stopping point, though. It's about halfway through the video. Alright. So, very interesting. Again, talking about like impulse and stuff. Being able to delay your gratifications. But I guess this is how to consciously do it. I don't know if like I said a little bit earlier, that I don't know if that's what I was doing or not. I know I've done that, and it's still, trust me, it's hard. And I usually try to do things. It's a lot easier if you can distract your mind to like doing work and stuff, and then you can, whatever it is that you're trying to put off becomes a lot easier whenever your mind is distracted. But if you're not doing anything and then to say no, it's going to be much harder. But alright, so this is the first half of Bhagavad Gita for students from Swami. I'm going to continue on. I'm just going to have to pause right here because it's getting a bit long, and I will definitely going to continue watching this and start up the next recording. So anyways, that's it for this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.